Hello, Eileen back again. I have another Lavinia stamps video tutorial to share with you today. Very quick, very easy, but I think very pretty Christmas card. It's not a large card, so it should be quite economical to post. And it uses a piece of cardstock that I've already folded, creased, and I've cut to 15 centimetres in length by 10 centimetres in width. This is the card that I'm going to show you. I'm actually going to put a sentiment on this as well because I think it needs one. But for the time being, I'm going to leave well alone until I've made it, and then I'll stamp the sentiment on here. Right, let's get cracking. I'll put the cardstock down onto some copy paper. I'm going to pop a piece of copy paper inside because it's a one layer card and I want to protect the inside of the card. And I'm taking some Sweet Poppy stencil tape. This stuff will not damage your cardstock. It's not masking tape, it is actually stencil tape, and it does the job really well. And I want to mask off this border here down the side of the card, like so, just gently stretching the tape so that it finds its own level. It's creased here, it doesn't matter. And then I'm taking another bit of the tape and I'm going out to give me a panel down the card. It's not in the middle, the panel, it's over to the right hand side. And I'm just going to make it about 1.5 inches, I think, in width, the panel. And then putting the tape down to mask off the left hand side of the card. Stretching it so that it again finds its own level and it will be straight. Well, that's the plan. I'm using some Sweet Poppy stencil brushes and speckled egg. Any pale blue will do, or any colour you like, obviously. So I'm just taking, oh yes, I want to see how much ink I've got on here. I'm not looking for too vivid a background. I want something fairly subtle to begin with. So very gently, just resting my fingers on the top of the brush head and skimming across the surface in a circular motion. I'm not pressing at all. In fact, you can hardly see the colour on the cardstock, and I'm going up the panel that I've masked off, but I'm not going right to the top or to the bottom of the panel. I want to leave some white space in both of those areas, and I'm just putting on a simple layer at a time and building up the colour to the depth that I need. And the depth is not too dark, but I do want to see the colour, obviously. Not going to get a good look at the shade of blue that you've got until you take the tape away, but I can see that it is building up slowly. This ink pad is quite dry now because I've used it so often. Okay, right, so that will do the blue. Now wild honey, but for the wild honey I'm going to apply it through a stencil, one of the new Lavinia stamp stencils. This is turning into a firm favourite, and it's called Leaf Trails. So pretty. So I'm going to pop that on, not bothering to tape it. And another Sweet Poppy stencil brush, Sweet Poppy Stencils makeup brush to apply the ink with, and this is Wild Honey Distress. Very gently with this, it can overpower everything. I just want a smidgen, just a hint, a shadow of the beautiful stencil over the top of my work, like so. Happy with that. Stencil into water or give it a quick wipe over with a damp cloth. And now on to the next bit, which is a bit of masking. Now, yesterday I had in the post, for those of you that saw the video yesterday, the postman, he came a-knocking or ringing the doorbell, and I had a set of these Lavinia Stamps acetate masks. This is one of them, and it's sort of gentle curves, and this I'm going to use for my hills. I just want gentle hills in the background. I don't want anything too mountainous, just gentle curves in the background to stamp my houses onto. So I'm just going to very lightly, using the speckled egg again, just gently come down. Can hardly see it. Going up a bit and then down again and then a bit more, so it looks as if there are rolling hills in the background, but gentle curves rather than Munros. My husband's climbed a fair few of the Munros, not as many as he would like, but yeah, in his younger days. Okay, so that is the gentle rolling hills, and now I'm going to put on the first of my stamps, and this is Fairy Tree. I've got a couple of these, as you can see. This is called Fairy Fir Tree 2 Small, because there's quite a few of these fairy fir trees, some without a number, some with large, so you need to make sure you get the right one, and this is Fairy Fir Tree 2 Small. Pop it on the block, and I'm going to use some archival shadow grey ink, but second generation. I don't want this too overpowering. Pop this on. I don't want the trunk of the tree, so concentrating on the foliage at the top, the branches, and using a piece of kitchen towel. Just check that you can see this okay. Yep, you can. Just taking it away from the trunk of the tree, and then, oh, I do need my stamp pad. Lost without that. Won't be a moment. I'll just use my small one today. My stamping, results with my stamping are so much better when I use either a stamp press or my stamping pad. That's what I've found anyway, and if you've got something that works, you stick with it, don't you? Okay, so just going to take off the first generation of that ink, which it's probably dried now, so let's ink up again then. I just want to see how much colour I have there. Yeah, so let's see if I, now that's nice, I might even go with that, but let me see if I can, just going to pop it in the middle of the image. Yes, it's there, but it's very wishy-washy, so I think that I'll go with first generation beside it. And I have got a lot of the trunk showing down here, which I'm not overly keen on, but I'm going to stamp the houses there, so hopefully that might cover that. So I'm going to pop this one into here and lower down so it's different heights. Yes, that's nice. Now this side, because there's more ink on that, and again even lower still, different heights. That didn't come out so well, so never mind. Ink up again. Let's see. Let's go might get away with that. So you've just got the trees in the background. Maybe they're a bit darker than I would have liked. No, I can cope with that. It seems I had 4 in the other one. You won't really tell what it's like until you take the tape off. Anyway, let's chance it then. Next, it's the houses. And these are called small dwellings. And I'm using 2, but in fact, to cover the trunks of the trees, I might use all 3. Because I don't want those tree trunks showing. Versifying Claire, Nocturne. Start off with the larger of the 3 small dwellings. It's sort of an archway with a tower and another building. You can just imagine the fairies living in these. They're so pretty. Right, silhouette shape, so plenty of ink on that one. And I'm going to pop this down on one of the hills that I've already prepared. And it will be there. Let the ink soak in. And then next is I'm going to do the tall one next to it again. Going to try and line it up so that it is side by side. Like so. Yeah. And then finally the small one. And I'll leave a bit of a gap with this one, I think, so that it's semi-detached. Well, it'll be detached, won't it? And put that there. On the same level, because they're all on the same street. That's it. Now, to make sure that they look as if they're all level, even if they're not, I'm going to get a couple of coloured pencils. Right, I can't find my polychromos at the moment. They are resting under my microphone, so I'm not going to disturb it. So I've got a Inktense outliner. I shall use that just very gently, holding the pencil right up the end. And then just gently shading down right the way across under the houses, and then another bit of shading down, and then this one is a reddy colour. Just wanted a slight contrast, shadow underneath the houses, like so. That will do. Now, to finish that off, I'm going to use, I don't know if I've showed this to you before, it's called, it's by Derwent, and it's a Burnisher. And what it does, it sort of blends your crayon colours together. There is another pencil called a blender pencil, and I use that a lot. This is a Burnisher, so this sort of just smooths everything out. It may have a couple of other uses, but I'm not a real artist, so I don't know. So I just use whatever I find works for me, and this does work. It just soothes out the pencil lines and sort of blends the colours in together and takes out some of the harsh lines that I have. In fact, I think I've overdone it a little bit there with the colour. So I'll get my trusty eraser and just gently take some of it out. This is why I love working with pencils. After you've done all the stamping and stuff, you know, I find that if I don't really want to muck it up, I'll go to pencils to sort of give me the odds and ends that I need to do. And I know that I've got a fair chance of finishing the project without binning it. Yes, that's quite nice. I've got a white pencil here, and I might just pop some of that in to sort of fade it into the background. A bit more. Yes, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, now these buildings have got windows in. If you find that you've stamped and you've got parts of the tree showing through the windows, if you just put in some white into the windows, it will highlight your windows and it will cover up any background stamping. I mean, I think I've got away with this and I'm pretty lucky, so I'm just showing you what I would have done or what I'm doing. I've got a bit of the tree there that I can see. I don't think you can see it, but it just brings the windows out to make it look as if, you know, the trees are in fact in the background. Okay, now the final thing I'm going to do before I do some snow is I want to put that word down. I've got a word that I did take out this morning. And it's called love. Laid it down, throwing everything around. Oh, there it is. Okay, and I've put it on a block and it's love, and I will be laying that down in a moment. Before I do, I want to show you one more thing. On this card I've put some very small gems. Look, can you see them? Here. Just some very small gems, look, coloured stones. Aren't they pretty? Now that is a bit of a faff. That is, but it's worth it. So these are the gems that I use. They're very, very tiny. There's all different sorts in here. The very, very tiny ones I used, I'll keep still so that the camera focuses a bit. Down a bit. Yeah, there you go. So they're very, very tiny, and I just used a normal glue onto my mat and then stuck them on the tree. So best do that. So have a tidy around. So this is the glue that I used. Now I don't know how effective this is really with gemstones. It was the only one I had to hand. So it may be that you've got a favourite that you use for gems. And it may be that the other card that I've made looks good now, but the gems will fall off in the night. Don't laugh, I've had that happen before. So, right, here's my gemstones. Take just a few out. Far too many. Put them back. And I've got one of these. This came with the gems, actually. It's a jolly handy pair of tweezers, this is. I mean, look how small these things are. So just plonking them in the glue. No finesse here. And then over to the tree. There's one. Go on, down you go. That's good. Right, and again into the glue. I don't know if you can see this, I'm not moving, sorry. I'm just going to, you'll have to take my word for it. Let me look. No, you can't. Oh dear, never mind. Right, I've got the gems at the side of me, and I'm just picking one up with the tweezers. A very delicate operation, as you can gather, because they're so small. And then sort of dipping it into the glue and transferring it then over to my tree, like so. Right, I do about 5, I think. So, oops, stayed in the glue, that one. You can tell that I don't do this very often, can't you? Look, that's 4. And then one more. Come on. Oh, that one's got all gunged up. It's terrible. Note to self, don't do any more demonstrations with glue and gems. Okay. Right. Well, that's not bad. Right, the other gems can go back into the pot. Picked up with the finger. Haven't wasted any. Breaks your heart when you leave bits of product around that you know that you're going to use again, doesn't it? So, and then clear up the glue. Done. Right, now I'm going to take off the tape. So that gives me my panel. And I'm going to put love on the card, which isn't on the other one. I'll show you that in a moment. So this, the word love. Now the reason why I've chosen the word love is that I wanted a tiny word. And I haven't got a very small word. I've got magic and I can't find it. I did try abracadabra, but it didn't get me anywhere. So I've got the word love. So that's what I'm using. I do love this card, so I'm telling the truth. Okay. And I'm going to pop this here. Nice. Pleased with that. It's straight, always a bonus. Now I want to do some snow, but I don't want it all over my houses. Don't mind a few on the trees. So cover it up. Posca paint pen, you've all seen this before. Posca paint pen, perfect layers, or a heavy ruler, and start whacking. Now I'm putting it's a blizzard, okay? I want a blizzard, and it certainly is that, I think. So we've got that. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit down here. I like the paint pen because you can be quite directional. Right. That will do. I really enjoyed making this. There's one I did earlier. There's the one that I've just completed, slightly different. In some ways it's better, in others it isn't. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed it. Now this afternoon I've got a real treat. This afternoon it is the Grand Prix, and it also is another time for more crafting. I've got a couple of projects that I want to do this afternoon that I'm quite excited about. In my head they look fantastic. The trouble is, when you transfer from your head to the cardstock itself, sometimes it doesn't go right, does it? Anyway, no worries. Now next weekend I won't be with you on the Saturday. I'm afraid I'm tied up on Saturday. I've got a online class that I'm doing, but I will be back with you on Sunday, and I'll have a nice project for you Sunday morning maybe, and maybe one in the afternoon if you're good. See you soon. Thanks ever so much for all the lovely comments that you leave me. I do appreciate it. You're such a supportive group on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you so much. Bye for now.